Hi, welcome to the first episode of the Broke Girl Society podcast. I'm your host, Christina, and I am a recovering compulsive gambling addict. So in this first episode, I just thought I would kind of tell a little bit of my story, tell you about how the Broke Girl Society came about, and kind of what to expect in the future episodes. I've got some really great interviews coming up, and I really look forward to sharing them with you. So I guess we'll just go ahead and get started. Like I said, I'm Christina. I am in my early 40s. I live in Oklahoma, which is second in the nation to the amount of slot machines in the state, which unfortunately for me was, slots were my drug of choice when it came to gambling. I didn't really know all the different ways there could be a gambling problem because I just focused on slots. I mean, I knew there were cards, but I didn't know anything about like pull tabs or that scratch off tickets or lottery tickets or, there's so many different forms of gambling that I just didn't have any idea about because this addiction is so quiet and we don't talk about it. And so there's just so much that's left unsaid, which is why it was important to me to try and just talk about this addiction. I didn't really want to put myself out there, but I had a hard time finding people to connect with over this, and I thought maybe other people are too. So, as part of my service work and to help in my recovery, I thought I would just put out this podcast and just talk about my recovery with you and talk with others about their recovery and, what things have worked for them and helped them and just kind of get those success stories, to share and encourage us all. And so you'll find throughout this podcast and these episodes that I am an amateur. I'm doing this in the evenings and in the late nights, trying to get these interviews and editing and all this stuff and do all the social media stuff. So I apologize if my sound quality isn't great. I'm recording this literally in the middle of a thunderstorm, so hopefully it's not too terrible. But so moving on, I do GA. I do 3 GA meetings a week. One's in person on Saturdays. It's my go-to meeting every Saturday, and I do 2 weekly Zoom meetings with the local group. So it's kind of the same people, and it's really great. GA has been an amazing part of my recovery. I also have a sponsor that I work the steps with. And, she's so far in her recovery, but it's just, I didn't know that talking with another woman who also struggled with compulsive gambling would be so healing. And that's why, that's another reason why it's so important for me to talk about this so that others can get their healing that they need, because it's wonderful when you can talk to somebody and you can explain to them how your mind was working and how your mind was justifying all these actions and these things to feed your addiction. And they're like, yep, I completely understand that. I was able to convince myself of the same thing. Things when you're talking to somebody who's a non-gambler or has never dealt with an addiction, they just don't understand. They don't get it. They don't get how your brain went from point A to point B and made you do things that were just completely out of character or, that crossed moral lines or whatever the issue is. But when you're talking with somebody who's been in that exact situation and you feel no judgment and you feel empathy and encouragement, and it just really kind of helps heal those little pieces in your soul that have been kind of broke. So I've got a wonderful sponsor. I have a wonderful therapist who I know it was my higher power sending all these people into my life, because she wasn't even the person I called to originally see. The person I originally called to see had quit taking new patients. And so they told me about Mary, and she didn't have addiction specialist on her bio or anything, but I thought, well, I need to talk to somebody. And it turns out that she is a recovering addict herself. And so she was very familiar with the 12 steps, and, it was just amazing. Our connection was really great. now she's a sister in recovery. And so it really just concluded the community around me that support me and encourage me, and I'm super blessed there. My therapist and my sponsor, I started really kind of delving into social media, and I found Facebook groups, for compulsive gambling and help there. And so I got to meet a whole bunch of people, and it just opened my eyes up to a whole nother world of recovery through those groups and those people. And it got me on the path of starting to put encouragement out there through my own social media. I started the brokegirl.cr accounts because I was still kind of like, not really ready to put myself out there, but I wanted to encourage others the way that I was being encouraged by quotes that I read or things, that I would come across. And so through that kind of brought a lot more people in my life. And so I've had this community just kind of growing around me. And I thought, well, why don't I just make this something a little bit more? I wanted to create a community that people could feel safe talking about this addiction with others without fear of getting, kind of the book thrown at them and, just go to meetings, that kind of thing. Because to me, it's just so much more than that. Yes, meetings help. I attend 3 a week, but it's not the only thing. It's not the only thing that helps. I think talking to other people and just especially people who know the struggle is tremendous help. And so at first I wanted to focus on it being kind of a women's only group. I had some men that I knew locally that wanted to be a part of the Broke Girl Society. And so I decided, I'm just gonna let anybody in who wants recovery and who will be encouraging and kind and supportive and who needs support. So it kind of turned out to be a little bit bigger than I thought, but it's okay. It's a great group, and I'm pretty proud of it. So with the Broke Girl Society, the name came from just my early social media, The Broke Girl. But when I was journaling right at the beginning of my recovery, the word broke was just a continuous thing, that I kept writing because, not only was I broke financially, I was broke mentally. I was depressed. I had serious anxiety. And that broke me physically because I have ailments that are caused from the stress of all this. And then, all the promises I broke, all the trust I broke, not only promises and trust with each other, but promises to myself, So it's just when you add up all this stuff, I was just this broke girl. Like I felt like I was never gonna be able to be whole again. I didn't even know who I was because I had lived in this addiction so long. And I was living 2 lives. I didn't know which life was the real life. And I don't think either of them were. I mean, they were both lies. I had my gambling addict life, and then I had my, my normal smile on my face, I'm fine life. And, I wasn't being true to myself either one. But I will say this, through recovery though, I am finding my truth. I'm finding my truth. I'm finding my healing. I'm finding my passion. And I just remember a time where I just didn't even think I wanted to be here anymore. And to go from there to how I'm feeling today, I'm very thankful and I'm very grateful. And if you're listening to this and you're struggling, you can have that healing too. I know it seems scary. I know it seems overwhelming. But you can take those steps. You can begin to heal. You can move past this addiction. You just have to show up and you have to do the work. And, it's every day is not good. And I'm going to be completely honest. I think sometimes a lot of us go into recovery with this, perfect mindset, day one, I'm never doing this again. And, I think when we go into recovery like that, it kind of sets us up for failure, because we set these high expectations and these high bars, and when we don't reach them, we feel like we failed. And I know that's what happened to me the first time I tried to do this. I tried to do it on my own. I didn't ask for help. I didn't bring anybody in. And I was just like, I'm done. I'm never going back. And that's all I did. I just fought it every day and didn't go back. But 55 days in, I slipped. And I had about a 3-day bender, I guess you could call it, chasing my losses and all that stuff. And I just knew that I would never be able to do it on my own. And I knew that I could never, ever gamble again. It wasn't about trying to control it. It wasn't about, it just wasn't about that anymore. I was never going to be able to gamble again. I'd crossed the point of no return. And so, I brought my mom in to my gambling addiction. And as disappointed as she was also so supportive. And I had been driving around with these self-ban papers for about a year. I kept saying, one more win and I'll turn these papers in. One more win and I'll turn these papers in. Well, it didn't matter how many wins I got. I didn't leave with it, and I didn't turn the paperwork in. So I handed it over to my mother. We filled it all out, and she actually sent it in for me because I just couldn't do it. So then I brought in my sister, and, it's been amazing with their support. So talk about the upcoming episodes that we've got. I've got some really great guests. I'll go ahead and give you the first few. We've got Tara from Ambitious Addicts podcast. She is amazing. I'm sure you've heard her, and we have a really good friendship and relationship. And so it's always great to just kind of chit chat about our gambling issues and kind of our recovery stories. And she's 5 years bet free. So it's just always great to talk to her. She has such a soothing soul. Also, we've got Stacey Goodwin, the Girl Gambler. She's UK based, and it was really great to talk to her. She, to talk to somebody that's on, so far away on a different, in a different country. And to hear her, kind of share the same stories, and it just shows how connected we all are. It was super healing to chit chat with her. She's really, really a lovely, lovely girl, and she's got a book out, so we kind of talk about all that. Then we've got Rick Benson with Algemus Treatment Centers, which is only one of 3 in the U.S. that treat just gambling specific problems. So he was really great. He made some really great points about the need maybe to step away from our life for that 30 days or 6 weeks to kind of reset and restart our recovery. And when we think we can't make the time or we can't do it, he makes some really, really good points about how we can and why we should. So he is a recovering compulsive gambler, and he's got some really great insight. And so that's a really great interview. And I've got several stories with women who, are several years into recovery, and, just really encouraging stories and how they've kind of turned their life around. So those will be coming up too in later episodes. And one really cool thing, Tara with Ambitious Addicts, we're going to also team up and do a step episode. So we'll do a step episode the first Saturday of every month for 12 months. And I'll be doing the steps through compulsive gambling, and she'll be doing the steps through codependency. And it's really kind of neat to see how both of those addictions interact and how they kind of play into each other. So I just got done editing it, and it's a really, really great episode. So, they all are, but I really enjoyed doing the step episodes. So, look for those. And then, other than that, I'm glad you're here, and I appreciate you listening in. And, there are several different ways you can get a hold of me. If you feel the need, you can get me at brokegirl.cr@gmail.com. You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all under the Broke Girl Society. So feel free to DM me and chat with me if you feel up to it. Other than that, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope it's a gamble-free day. So, bye.